This is the book of James, chapter 5, verse 10. Take, my brethren, the prophets who have spoken in the name of the Other One Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakah, Kadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of great millstones. Peace, mercy, and blessings unto the hopeful elect. The Israelites of the Bible are the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And like it says in the book of James, chapter 5, verse 10, take my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Other One Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience. So, if you haven't noticed, the prophets if you have read all the books of the Old Testament, the Apocrypha, and the New Testament, you can always see that the prophets have always suffered in the afflictions and, in patience. And like it says in the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, chapter 2, verse 1, it reads, my son, if thou come to serve the Other One Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, prepare thy soul for temptations. And there's temptations everywhere. There's a lot of people that have different kind of temptations. There could be, alcohol. It could be, drugs. It could be, women. It could be different kind of temptations. So when you come to serve the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, you got to prepare yourself for those temptations. Verse 2, set thy heart aright and constantly endure. Make not haste in time of trouble. So we have to endure and not make haste when we are pretty much going through afflictions and pains. Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. So we got to cleave to the Heavenly Father Yahweh Bashim Yahushai by praying to him, by reading his scriptures, Verse 4, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully and be patient. So whatever is brought up to us, we got to take it cheerfully and patience. When thou art changed to a lower state, when you're in the lowest state, sometimes in this true, you're going to be good, sometimes you're going to be bad. But that's just the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, testing you, trying you out. Like it says in the verse 5, for gold is trying the fire, an acceptable man in the furnace of adversity. So just like how you make gold shine, you put it in the fire, you're letting it burn. It's the same thing with the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. He's doing that for his elect man, for those that he has called to know this knowledge, wisdom, understanding, to know his mysteries, that he's putting them into adversity to see if we're going to, change, if we're going to be cleaving to him, if we're going to be looking for him, if we're going to be praying for him. He wants a real man. Verse 6, believe in him and he will help thee. Order thy way aright and trust in him. So we have to always believe in the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, that he's going to be there. He pretty much give it and he take it away. He lift it up and he bring it down. So that's what he's doing with it, is that he's going to test us. And we have to look for him and pray for him every time, in the good and in the bad. Now, the reason why he does this to the prophets, it's because if you go to Amos, chapter 3, verse 7, it reads, surely the Other One Yahweh Bashim Yahushai will do nothing, but he revealed his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. So, this mystery, the prophets gets it. The real the prophets of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, the real prophets are always going to speak everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And what's the prophet job? To prophesy. If you go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 28, verse 8, it reads, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms. The United States is a great kingdom. Of war, there's a lot of war going on. You have China, Taiwan, rumors of war, China and Taiwan. You have Ukraine and Russia. You have the Israeli against Iran. And now you have United States against Venezuela, especially what United States did. President Trump sent an aircraft to basically kidnap the president of Venezuela, because he said that he was a drug lord and drugs are coming in the United States. But in reality, we know that he did it for the oil. And of evil, there's a lot of evil going around the world. I saw an article that right now, when they're in Mexico, where they're going to have the World Cup, they found 400 bags of human in Mexico City, of dead people. You have pedophilia going on. You have, the Sodom and Gomorrah. You got a lot of like evil stuff going around this world. and of pestilence. A lot of pestilence, new viruses are coming out. They're coming out with this new virus that's getting people sick. So there's probably going to be another pandemic pretty soon. You know, we're going to see. We go to the book of Hebrews. This book of Hebrews chapter 10, verse 36, says right here, for you have need of patience. We need patience, long suffering. We're going to be suffering when you're called to this knowledge, wisdom, understanding. You're going to suffer, but that's okay, because that's the Heavenly Father, how about Shem Shai, testing you. He's making, like it says in the book of Sirach. Let's go back to it. I don't want to butcher it. Sirach chapter 2, verse 5. For gold is tried in the fire, an acceptable man in the furnace of adversity. So when we're going through adversity, you need to be patient about it. And we go back to Hebrews chapter 10, verse 36. For ye have need of patience, that shall after ye have done the will of Yahweh, ye might receive the promise. And what is the will of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai? Well, we go to the book of Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 7. What is the will of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai? It says right here, so thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. So we're a watchman to the house of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We're watching out. We're watching what's going on around the world, so we could pretty much prophesy. We could connect the precepts with what's going on in the world, and we could give that warning out. So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, thou shalt hear the word at my mouth and warn them from me. So pretty much, how do we hear the word of the Heavenly Father, how by Shem Yahushai? By reading his word, like it says in the book of Revelations. Book of Revelations, chapter 1, verse 3 says, blessed is he that readeth. So we're blessed when we read the word of the Heavenly Father, how by Shem Yahushai. And they that hear the words of this prophecy. We're hearing the words of the prophecy that's going on around the world. And keep those things which are written therein. So like Yahweh Shai said, don't be just a hearer or a reader, but be a doer. We have to basically rehearse the righteous acts of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, as best as we can. For the time is at hand. The time is at hand. And what's the time? It's pretty much the United States, which is Esau, Edom, so-called white man. Their world is about to end. Their kingdom is about to fall. They're about to be judged by the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Again, go back to Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 7. It says, so thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore thou shalt hear the word at my mouth and warn them from me. So we have to warn them, whether they hear or whether they forbear. We still have to, give that warning out so we can clean the blood out of our hands. If we go back to Hebrews, Hebrews chapter 10, verse 36. It says, for ye have need of patience, that shall after ye have done the will of Yahweh, ye might receive the promise. And what is the promise of that? Well, we go to the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 2, and we jump into 42. It reads, I, Ezra, saw upon Mount Zion a great number who I could not number, and they all praised the out of one Yahweh Bashem Yahushai with songs. And in the midst of them there was a young man of high stature, and taller than all the rest, and upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marvel at greatly. And that young man was Yahweh Shai, who the world initially calls Jesus Christ. So I asked the angel and said, Sir, what are these? Verse 45. He answered and said unto me, These be they that have put off mortal clothing and put on immortal, and have confessed the name of Yahweh. Now are they crowned and receive palms. So pretty much those that were blessed with this knowledge, wisdom, understanding, were confessing the name of the Heavenly Father Yahweh, who the world inherently calls God, and his son Yahweh Shai, who the world inherently calls Jesus Christ. We're confessing their names. We're letting people know the real names of the Heavenly Father and his son Yahweh Shai. Verse 46. Then said I unto the angel, what young person is it that's crowned them and giveth them palms in their hands? Verse 47 says, so he answered and said unto me, it is the son of Yahweh, which is Yahushai, who they have confessed in the world. Then began I greatly to command them that stood so stiffly for the name of the other one Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So we stand stiffly for the Heavenly Father Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, you know. We go to Book of Daniel's, because what are those promises to? We're gonna have immortality, and we're gonna be judging the 12 tribes of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the elect man, who are the 144,000. Not only them, but also the other nations. And we're going to do it with Yahweh Shai, with a big bro, Yahweh Shai. And we go to the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 27. And it reads, and the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints. Who are the saints? The saint, well, we go to the book of Psalms 148, verse 14. Says, he also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him. Praise ye the Adonai Yahweh Bashim Yahshai. So who are the saints? The saints are the Israelites. And those Israelites will be the elect man, the 144,000, the ones. And we go back to Daniel chapter 7, verse 27. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. So the kingdom of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, is going to be an everlasting kingdom, and all these other nations are going to be in subjection and taking orders from Yahweh Shai and us. And that is pretty much like it says in the book of James. No, it's Salak for that. Book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 36. For ye have need of patience, that shall, after ye have done the will of Yahweh, ye might receive the promise. And those are the promises. That's what the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, promised to his elect man. You know, immortality, kingdoms, rulership with his son Yahweh Shai. And with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Shalom.